What's up, guys? Tony Ramirez here, and welcome to the garage. If you're into turning wrenches, fixing up cars, or just keeping your ride in top shape, you're in the right spot. I drop real-world tips, no fluff, just what actually works. So hit that like button, smash subscribe, and let's wrench smarter, not harder. All right, enough intro. Let's jump right in.
Welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm diving into the world of intake pressure sensors. I'll be discussing their crucial role in your vehicle's performance, how to maintain them for longevity, and the signs of where that you should be on the lookout for. Plus, I'll guide you through the process of replacement if you find that your sensor needs an upgrade. Whether you're a seasoned mechanic or just starting out, this information will help you keep your engine running smoothly. Let's get started. Compare the best garages to change your intake pressure sensor. See garages mainly installed on diesel-powered cars fitted with a turbocharger. The intake pressure sensor is a part that transmits information to the ECU. Once this data has been received, the latter can adapt fuel injection. What is the intake pressure sensor? Where to find the intake pressure sensor? How do you know if an intake pressure sensor is out of order? How to test an intake pressure sensor? How to clean an intake pressure sensor? How to change an intake pressure sensor? How much does an intake pressure sensor cost? Compare the best garages to change your intake pressure sensor. See garages. What is the intake pressure sensor? Also known as a boost pressure sensor or MAP sensor, manifold absolute pressure, the intake pressure sensor plays several roles. It measures the air intake pressure inside the engine. The sensor determines the air intake pressure at the engine inlet. It transmits the signals to the engine control unit, ECU, enabling it to regulate fuel injection. Made of ceramic, the intake pressure sensor is made up of several measuring resistors that are particularly sensitive to pressure. It is these resistors which generate the electrical signals needed by the ECU to regulate fuel injection. The engine warning light comes on if you find the following codes: P0234, P0235, P0236, P0242, P0540. Your intake pressure sensor has failed. How to clean an intake pressure sensor? Where to find the intake pressure sensor? Cleaning may be enough to solve the problem, but you need to take care to avoid damaging other parts of your vehicle. Materials required. Compare the best garages to change your intake pressure sensor. See garages. How do you know if an intake pressure sensor is out of order? Most often, you'll find it inside or next to the intake manifold. Step 2. Clean the intake pressure sensor using cleaning product dedicated to electrical parts. You can clean your intake pressure sensor. You can also use white spirit or brake cleaner. Step 3. Refit the intake pressure sensor. Now that the pressure sensor is properly cleaned, you can put it back in its housing. Then reconnect its connector. Reassemble the previously removed components and finally, check that your engine is running smoothly again. How do I change an intake pressure sensor? If your intake pressure sensor is actually out of order, you need to replace it as soon as possible. If you delay, other, more serious faults could occur, considerably increasing the repair bill. How to test an intake pressure sensor? Once you've removed the damaged part, check that it matches the new intake pressure sensor and that it's compatible with your vehicle. Then place the new sensor in its housing and replace the removed parts. Check that everything's working properly before you set off again. To do this, you can use a diagnostic kit. How much does an intake pressure sensor cost? Compare the best garages to change your intake pressure sensor. Roll intake pressure sensor location, intake pressure sensor, intake pressure sensor test, intake pressure sensor clean, intake pressure sensor remove, intake pressure sensor clean, intake pressure sensor remount, intake pressure sensor change, intake pressure sensor price, intake pressure sensor. In conclusion, the intake pressure sensor plays a crucial role in ensuring optimal engine performance and efficiency. Regular maintenance is essential to keep this component functioning properly, as neglect can lead to signs of wear that may affect your vehicle's overall performance. By being aware of these signs and knowing when to replace the sensor, you can prevent costly repairs and maintain your vehicle's health. Remember, a well-maintained intake pressure sensor not only enhances your engine's performance but also contributes to better fuel efficiency and reduced emissions. Thank you for watching, and drive safely.